to an age when thought is free. From the age of Big Brother. From the age of the thought police. From a dead man. Greetings.
Yeah, so that was interesting fighting with OBS, man. Like, I need to sit down and figure this out, you know, for the sake of fluency and
Fighting
consistency
temptations.
in our program.
I honestly think it's got to do with your graphics card. I'm not sure why, but I just have a feeling. I think it might be something to do with like the 70 versions of the RTX. Like,
Could be. It really could be. I need to do a deep dive. So
I was
dude,
actually
this week since we last spoke, what's been up? What's been good?
I was saying that there was this thing that I saw where it was basically saying that you had these tribes of Judah that were separated and placed in all these different places in the east, and their number was 186,400.
Okay. And
so you're asking, why is that relevant?
yeah. Well, what exactly?
Because so it basically says they were placed in the east by the rising sun, and I'm trying to think what. Oh, it was Numbers, chapter 2, verse 9. But anyways, and basically what's interesting is that, and I think it says they were called the children of light. But what's interesting is that the constant speed of light is 186,400 miles per hour.
Uh-huh. Yes, that sounds about right.
Take it or leave it. That's just what I'm saying. It's just interesting.
So where did you hear this? Where did you hear this?
I heard it through like some mystic dude who was talking about, basically saying like the Bible is like an allegorical
work
essentially. And you know, there's even the one place, if I can remember correctly, I think it's in Galatians, where Paul is talking about Abraham and Sarah, and then he says there like to be taken as allegory, you know. So just kind of interesting. His point was basically saying like the whole book is allegorical, and all these people, they think it's a real thing. But and I've heard this opinion before.
Yeah.
I know you disagree with it, but it's very interesting way of looking at it, where it's basically a psychological drama happening inside of man, and every single story it's like a way for you, it's something that's happening within you at some point in your life.
Yeah, that's, if I can jump in here, I don't know if you're finished with your thought, but like okay, two things. First of all, people are dumb. Okay, like never underestimate the dumb shit people can think and say, like on a daily basis, even though they're like educated on paper. It's fascinating. I mean, take your pick of any topic. So people tend to hear something, and then for some reason they believe it with all their heart, and they never feel the urge to ever verify it through another source or get another opinion. Then the second thing we have to know is that we feel like we go to anyone and ask them about something that happened in history. They will speak with such confidence. No, we know this king of England or Scotland lived in this time and he did this and this and this. We know it. Then you ask, how do you know it? Inevitably, you come back to some source written by someone, right? And this is your truth source. So, and then of course the question is, how do you know this person was writing the truth about King Charles? Maybe this person happened to be the only person who could write. I'm just using King Charles. You can insert whichever king, medieval king you want to, or lord or lady, and just writing what they could. And they may have believed it to be true or not. But just the same way that the ancient Greeks, many of them really believed in Zeus and Aphrodite and Hermes, and you know what I mean. So it's difficult to say when you realize that everything that we know about the past, because we personally cannot interact with the past. It's gone. Most of what we know about the past has just a few sources, one, maybe, 2, 3, 4, right? But we take them as truth. Ironically,
Yeah, because
gospel
we say,
truth.
oh, the historians told us.
You see, and now when you take then the writing of someone else regarding something else that you don't want to accept, suddenly, oh, that's allegorical, it's not historical. And then, of course, one of the most important points is that, and this is not even a biblical story, Troy, right? The story of Troy, the siege of Troy, the ancient city, that was believed for a long time to be a fairy tale. And then we actually found the remains of a city, Troy, right? And I believe that was at the turn of the 20th century. So now we know that there was a city. We don't know if every story in there is exactly as they said. Yeah, I mean, they even spoke, I mean, like a good point in case is this new Christopher Nolan movie on the Odyssey that's coming out, where
That they've already butchered, apparently.
bro, we'll see. Okay, Lupita Nyong'o is a great actress. We've seen her in many things. She's done a fantastic job. I'm just not so hung up on it, right? And that's a whole nother story I'll tell you about why no one should really get hung up on it. But basically, Helen of Troy was supposed to be the daughter of Zeus, the god, and was actually born, not born, hatched out of an egg. So, city of Troy, real. We have the archaeological ruins. But does that mean that Helen of Troy, the actual, or Helen of Sparta, I suppose, because that's who she was married to at first, the king of Sparta, it doesn't mean that she actually hatched from an egg, you know? So there's like mysticism, fairy tale
Well,
mixed
look,
with truth.
think about it this way.
And
is there any person who's hatched from an egg in
that's
this
what,
day and age
there we
that
go.
you know of?
Yeah, there we go. So now my point is, by the way, that's also a very important rebuttal for people who are like, Lupita Nyong'o is not historically accurate. Helen of Troy, like, dude, the moment we found out she hatched from an egg, it was a free for all. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Look,
could have been
obviously,
anyone.
I'm not just gonna lie on that one.
Hold on, let me get to the other point because that's another one we'll get into. So my point being, we see that there's history mixed with mystery, because it rhymes, I'll say it that way. And there are actually sites like Jericho, a city mentioned in the Bible. It's actually, we found archaeological sites for that. We've seen that there were also immense walls, right? Now the question is, were the walls brought down by people running, or like dancing around it for 7 days and like singing and stamping, that we cannot confirm. But what we can confirm is that there was a city in the place of Jericho, and it's an archaeological site. So, and then of course, many of the stories, they actually coincide with the times and the eras and the way that places are described there. So there's definitely a historical element to it that's truthful. But we can't confirm every single part of the story. We just can't. So I just feel like it's a waste of time to discuss it like that. It's a waste of time. And the final point that I'll put in here is that it's said in the Bible. It's said in the Bible that, for example, the story or the description of the tabernacle with the Holy of Holies and the lamps that stand before the Holy of Holies and the forecourt and all of that, it says that this is a foreshadowing of the kingdom of God. Meaning that it's not a secret that the book or the writings are describing physical phenomenon as well as you put it, psychological dramas. It's actually been said. So when someone says that, it's like they really haven't read it. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's already been said.
Let me cut you off there. You're going on a bit of a tangent.
Okay, continue,
reel
please.
you back in. So let's take it piece by piece. You mentioned Jericho. Now I'm just taking it from the mystics, their standpoint, basically.
Okay, mystics. Can I just ask you to qualify who? Ancient mystics, the guy next to the 7-Eleven. Who's the mystic? Like, just.
It doesn't really matter who it is, whether it's Neville Goddard or Bill Donahue or Shankara or whoever. Lao Tse.
Did you say Shakira?
Take your pick. Shankara.
Okay.
But anyways, so basically, when you look at, so this is obviously based off of the teachings and stuff that I've read up on. When you think of the trumpet, right? So the trumpet, how does a trumpet work? It's basically you blowing air into it. So basically, that's what they did around the walls of Jericho. Is they blew the trumpets, and then the walls came crashing down.
But that was on the final day. Sorry, continue.
So basically, what they're saying is you've got these walls of your consciousness that have solidified throughout your life, and in order to break down those barriers, you do it through breath, deep breathing. That's blowing the trumpet and getting to that state of ascension through the breath work. Using sites like Jericho itself is just something where you had garnered inspiration from. But that's not necessarily to say that Jericho wasn't real. It's just saying that, I live in this time period, and these mighty walls remind me of some other battle, right? That's happening within. That's the one point. And then he also said the tabernacle. Now I wish I had. I read it like a couple of months ago, even about the tabernacle and all the different places of even the altar where you leave certain things, and then but you have to go through a certain order, and only like when you reach the holiest of holies, which is supposed to represent the right hemisphere of the brain. So it's supposed to go like from the solar plexus to the right hemisphere of the brain. Another thing you can also look at, and this is the last thing I'll say, is that with the winter solstice, right? The sun. I wish I could actually it's just such a long time ago. Basically, you would have to look it up. basically, yeah,
Share the idea.
the
Share the idea of what you're saying.
I'll try say it in like in the simple terms. Basically, the sun on the 21st of December goes into like the winter equinox, and for 3 days it's
It
something
dies.
happens to it, it dies or whatever, and then it is born again on the 25th, because the 21st is actually the shortest day of the year, and then it is reborn, and then it's now on the east at the right hand of the Father.
Okay. But
It's so what I'm saying is that there's a lot of there's the way that the historians look at it, and then there's the way that maybe your normal religious people look at it, and then you have how the mystics interpret it.
can I add something
Um,
though that's important not to forget is that the birth of Jesus Christ did not happen in December. And everybody knows this. Some people still, I laugh sometimes when people say it like it's a fact and they've just blown my mind or they're trying to blow my mind. Like, yeah, we know this. It's obvious. Everyone knows that many of the celebrations of Christendom, especially because Christendom in the West, right? Western Christendom, just took Christian holidays or took pagan holidays and placed Christian holidays on top of that, because basically that's the easier way for the culture, because people are already used to, for generations they know that we have Easter festivities which coincides with spring, right? We know we have
and it's also a fertility ritual.
exactly,
That's
and
why
if
you have rabbits and eggs, right?
bingo, that's got nothing to do with the Bible, right? And that's probably why they also picked the 25th as, or the 24th as like Christmas Eve and things like this. Like, this is not a new thing. It's not like this is a global standard. It's not, I mean, yes, Christmas now has become a global standard that way, but you'll still find Christian communities where it's not like that. So I don't think that's a good point to make. I know it's not your point. You're just retelling a point that others have made, but I just don't think that's a good point. You have to
No, but
understand.
basically, what I'm saying is that obviously that was the third one that I said,
Hmm.
but that's how they're looking at it. For instance, another one this just came to me is that uh, Egypt is the carnal mind. This is how he put it. It's the lower mind, right? The desert is meditation because you don't know where you're going. Everything looks the same when you sit down, close your eyes, and try silence the mind. And then the promised land is the right hemisphere of the brain. That's nirvana or whatever. Uh, and that's the whole journey, according to this one guy who was talking about it, another mystic.
Again, like I said, remember something that we, this world is a shadow of the real world, which actually coincides quite well also with what we understand, even as laymen, right? Who don't have doctor's degrees in quantum physics or even physics, is that and it's interesting. I actually had a chat with someone who's got a physics degree and worked at ESA, the European Space Agency. I had a chat with him this past weekend, and the way that it's almost like I'm summarizing here now, but it's basically that the physical, we have different states of matter, right? We have gaseous, we have liquid, we have solid state. Okay, so what's the difference between the solid state
Don't
and the
forget plasma.
yeah, but what's the difference between the solid state and the liquid state? Energy.
Just the level of vibration, right?
Energy. Let's be specific here. Energy. So in other words, you take metal, it's in solid state, and what do? You heat it up. What are you adding? Energy. And that turns it into what? Liquid. And if you continue to heat up more, so add more energy, what happens to it? It becomes gaseous. So it's energy. Different types of matter require different amounts of energy to transition them from one state of being to the next. And this is something that doesn't just apply to like matter as we perceive it and can smell it and taste it and see it, but even more. So basically, this entire realm is like the gunky consequence of the higher realms. You understand what I mean? So when we
you're basically talking about like the Hermetic principles of like
but
the
it's
seven
not
levels.
just hermetic. The hermeticist looks at it through one lens, but the physicist will look at it through another lens, right? And they'll disagree on certain things, but they'll agree on certain things, other things. Remember that astronomy was born from astrology, and that physics and chemistry were born from alchemy. So they have a similar path, but then they differ on one end, where the one is like, well, I'm going to remain in the realm of things that I can see, hear, touch, smell, weigh, measure, right? And the other goes a little bit further and says, I believe this extends further into the unseen. Okay? And if you take that standpoint, then you will accept that again, I can only utter it again, that which the Bible has already said, which is that this world is a shadow of the real world. So it's not.
I think that was Carl Jung, but continue.
No, but it's not just him. I mean, it's not like he just came up with that. And what I'm trying to say is that it's possible, and not just possible, but it's very, very likely that, like you said, the journey out of Egypt can reflect or represent or be parallel to the actual leaving of the attachment to the physical world. And the wandering in the desert can be that meditative state, or that state of removing yourself from the world of purely desires and material, and then entering the promised land is actually where you say, okay, now we enter into nirvana.
And then basically, just to add to that, that's why they said, it says like Moses couldn't go with them because he was punished by God.
Yeah.
Essentially, what the guy was saying was that it's because no one can take you in there. You have to do it yourself. So that's what was representing that whole thing about Moses, of no one can lead you into the promised land. You have to get there yourself.
But Moses was taken up into heaven. Was he not? I believe it was only 2 people have been taken up. No,
Moses died, bro. He got because he was disobedient to God. He died. First, when he broke the tablets, and then also
because
when
he got angry. Yeah, okay.
He got angry because they were worshipping Baal, but then he broke the tablets, and then he got God said he was disobedient, and then another time he.
Okay, you're right. Yes, I got that confused. He wasn't taken up. Yes, but Elijah and
Elijah, obviously, but
and Enoch.
That's why people they kind of get upset with that story because they're like, this guy did everything, and then he only messed up 2 times, and he had one of the worst punishments. He couldn't even go to the place.
Is it really? I mean, the guy was 120 years old when he died. I don't know if I would say it's a punishment.
After being but anyways, another point before I forget this is also the whole thing about, you know, there's that. I'm taking this strictly now from like your pastor or whatever, where
Okay.
it's essentially there's that story of, uh, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into the kingdom,
Yeah.
right? Like, when you hear that, what do you think?
Well,
Like, what do you think it means? Like,
I
don't overthink it.
no,
Just
no.
the
I'll
one
tell
you've
you what
always
I
been
think. I
taught
know
and the
what
one
people
you
say.
know.
People literally say it's impossible for a rich person to get into heaven. And I've also heard people say only the poor will enter heaven, right? But what I think personally it means is that, and this makes sense to me, is that when you have wealth, you tend to be attached to material things. It's not that you have to necessarily be, but many, 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 many people will be so attached to their material things once they gain wealth. Secondly, wealth tends to attract power, and people who have power tend to be corrupted or corruptible. But it's not a death sentence in that it has to be the case. It's just that it will most probably be the case. You understand? And so that's what I think Jesus meant. Also, people should remember that Jesus was a man who, or person who loved to speak in superlatives. Right?
Parables.
No, superlatives. Like he exaggerates the tale to get his point across. Just like the story of, not the story, where he says, don't worry about the, one second here. He says, don't worry about the splinter in your neighbor's eye. Worry about the log in your eye. You know that part? That's saying?
Of course, or the
Yeah. So
mote in your
have you
own
ever
eye.
seen a person with an entire log in their eye? No, you haven't. So when Jesus is saying, when he uses the example of a camel through the eye of a needle, we should not see that as it's absolutely impossible because that's how we think. But we should consider that what he's saying is, okay, if we have 100,000 people and we give wealth, great wealth, to 100,000 people, 1 in 100,000 people will be able to remain humble, remain unattached to material wealth and things, and make it. That's my take. That's my personal take. You know.
Okay, so what most people don't know is it's an old saying from Jerusalem. There's like 12 gates around Jerusalem, and one of them is called the Eye of the Needle because it's a very small gate. And the whole saying is that in order to get an actual camel through there, you have to unburden it. So you have to take off all the goods and stuff you have on top. And then there's like this weird thing where you have to, like, the camel almost has to crawl through it on its knees. That's how they have to get it through. Um, Once again, it's an old saying that people just said back then. You
Can
see,
I
but if you don't have that context of, oh no, this is just like, you know,
can I check that out?
what's
It sounds like something
go
that
for it.
makes. It sounds like something that might make sense. I'm gonna Google here.
So basically, what they're saying, from the mystical standpoint, is that that's why they're saying it's impossible for a rich man to get, um, through, or a camel to get through, tying that in with the rich man, because you literally have to take off the goods and stuff from the camel's back
Yeah. Let
in
me.
order for it to fit through. But
Okay.
once again, yeah,
I googled.
from
Did ancient Jerusalem have a gate called the Needle's Eye? It says this is a popular myth. Ancient Jerusalem did not have a gate called the Needle's Eye. This is a popular myth. Historians and archaeologists agree that the phrase refers to a literal sewing needle, which Jesus used as a hyperbole. Again, you see, a hyperbole to illustrate the impossibility of a rich person entering the kingdom of God. The idea that the eye of the needle was a small, narrow side gate that forced camels to strip their baggage and crawl on their knees did not appear until the Middle Ages, roughly 1,000 years after the time of Jesus. I didn't want to shoot you down, but yeah, it's just horseshit.
No, it's not about shooting
Yeah.
down.
I
But
think,
yeah, okay.
yeah,
just-
I think.
But
it's
anyways,
just,
that's why
yeah.
I'm trying to finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
So essentially, what they're saying is that in order to reach that place, you have to unburden from this world. So those are like your carnal desires, and add anything you want to that, to whatever desire you want. And that is what? To go into meditation, to sit and to reach the kingdom of heaven, which is within you. That is like, and I'm specifically talking about the mystics, their standpoint of it. And so, it's because it's the same thing about, and this is what this guy was just saying, with all the different stories that you've heard, of Jonah in the whale's mouth, and I mean, I can't even remember what other ones he brought up. He's like, oh, guy's in a fish's mouth for 3 days. All these types of things. I'm trying to think of the others he was mentioning. But yeah, he was basically saying, like, you're told that it's parables. Jesus says it's all parables. But yet people still take it.
Jesus said it was
literally.
parables? When did he say that?
No, when he basically says that he has to talk in parables. And
Yeah, but that
whole
doesn't
thing
mean
that he mentions
everything in the
about,
Bible is parables.
Yeah, so
You get what I mean? Like, we have to be. I understand what you're trying to say, and you're not expressing your ideas. You're expressing the ideas of the people that some of them I've read and listened to. But
because he was saying that
knowledge
the whole
sheds
thing
light
about
and dispels
Egypt,
ignorance. Yeah,
you
but let me.
won't, like, the people who wrote down everything, you won't find one time of 40,000 people who left there at some point.
Dude, this is literally what I was just talking about. It's that right now, for example, as they're doing a search on Moses, right, in the records, there's some people who believe that they've actually found Moses, because remember something. Even though the person who wrote down the Bible and it was translated as a prince of Egypt, remember, you can't be a prince unless you're actually born into the royal family. But what it very likely means is that you're one of the highest people in Egypt. So Moses, and also secondly, Moses is basically a pseudonym. It wasn't his name. Like, when he was in Egypt, they weren't calling him Moses. But they found, for example, what's the term? I'll just say tomb that was prepared, a burial place of a very wealthy individual who lived in around that time of Moses, who had another name, or not the name Moses, right? And which is basically just like how Jesus isn't actually Jesus, he's Yeshua ben Hur, actually. I mean, Yeshua, right? God will save his people. Or Joshua and Yeshua and Jesus, it's actually the same name. Many people still don't know that, but it's the fact, right? Translated or were named differently for some reason, maybe to distinguish the two. And so
they
Moses
said it because it was just Jewish sounding.
Yeah,
That's what I
maybe.
heard.
And the point is, this tomb was never used, and this person was then defaced. Like all their statues, all their markings, most of them were like defaced. It's like there was a big falling out, right? And also, and I really want to remember this one guy's name. This historian. They have found inscriptions in Egypt, in Ptolemy, I believe it was, this city that was like where they were quarrying stone. Inscriptions that say in ancient Hebrew, scratched into the wall, where the slaves were staying, Yahweh, save us. So we know that there were Hebrews there, and that they were in the work camps. And we know that that presence left. Whether it was 40,000 or something like that, we don't know. What I'm trying to get to is, we will see. The next coming years might reveal something new, just like how we didn't know about Troy, or we didn't have confirmation of Troy, we didn't have confirmation of Nineveh, we didn't have confirmation of Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities of the
And
plain.
Narnia.
Dude, why are you bringing in Narnia? You obviously are you Shabbat? Are you
Rabbi Shmurny.
Dude.
Rabbi Shmurny.
But anyway,
Shlomo.
again, you know what?
What I'm saying is that I know you want to give a whole history lesson.
I don't.
I'm just saying
I don't.
that the thing is not that there wasn't Hebrews there. So this is what I'm saying. It's, you're kind of trying to make it seem like by disputing one fact, it's disputing all facts. But that's just not true.
No, but I'm never.
I
I'm not trying to say
specifically,
that.
or not even me. That's the other thing. The guy just specifically said of 40,000 people leaving Egypt at a point, where there was all these plagues and stuff, and you don't find it written in, I guess, Egyptology, if that's even a real
They
thing.
wouldn't though.
And that's normally the response to it. Oh no, they'll just ignore that part. Oh yeah, no guys, that didn't happen. Don't worry about it. But you guys are here's some spades and here's some rakes. We're gonna have to get to work now because our workers have all left.
What I think you should try and understand. I'm not saying that the story of actual events and the actual histories are not also at the same time reflections of a psychological and spiritual drama unfolding within the individual as well as societies, civilizations. I'm saying it can be reflections of each. I mean, for example, you take you can literally do the same with anything. You can say, for example, the current state of the world. Right? We live in a world where actually we've never been richer than before. But at the same time, people feel poorer than ever before. Right? I mean, if you ask, like, if you hear it all the time, someone will tell you, oh, in the 70s, my granddad already had a house and a holiday house and 2 cars and a Kawasaki motorbike, and he was a plumber and things were so good. But your grandfather didn't have like a supercomputer in his pocket. Your grandfather also didn't have hundreds of thousands of movies and series at his disposal to view at any given moment for just like 10 euros a month. You know, your grandfather wasn't
the ugly Netflix plug.
I'm just saying, like, there's a certain point. Like right now in your dish, you might log off here and then be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have some quinoa with quinoa with rabbit's foot and whatnot, and like all these things.
I
Like,
thought you said we are abundant.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, some exotic meal
Bro's
that we.
talking about chicken feet and necks.
Dude, I mean, think about it. We're getting
Which is
wheat.
delicious, by the way.
We're getting wheat, or we were getting wheat from places like Ukraine. Sunflower oil from like far thousands of kilometers away. We have electricity. We have the ability to make night turn to day. We have everyone gets to go to school, and so
But
my point
here's
is.
something to add to that before you make your point, is that if you saying this about like the grandpa in the 70s who had those things, but then you could look at people 400 years before that where just the abundance of land and the produce was wealth. Oh, we're abundant here. We've got food, we've got sheep, we've got our houses, we've got our family. That could have been seen as abundance, and that could have been more spread out through to every person,
Well, make no
because you
mistake,
only needed so much.
people were also
Whereas now
starving.
it's also concentrated as well,
Make no
though.
mistake,
It's
people
like
were.
money is the thing that they need.
There we go. So what I'm trying to get to is this. Is my point is this: is that you can take the story of a person living today, and you can mirror it in the state of the entire country, and then you can mirror that in the state of the entire world. So basically what I'm trying to say is, even right now, you and I are living in a psychological drama that is reflected in our physical state of lack or abundance or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like the whole mind over matter thing.
And mind is matter. Not just mind over matter, mind is matter. Or affects matter. So it's not like you can just say it was once, that the Bible is just a psychological drama or an allegory, but literally every day you wake up is the psychological drama, and it is an allegory. Where how you are in your head, in your mind, greatly determines whether you're having a good day or a bad day. Whether people are being nice to you, being mean to you, all of this, everything that you witness and experience, it's happening on the physical level, the mental level, the spiritual level. And so it's not just the Bible. Even right now is the allegory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. It's very.
No, but that's just my take on it. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to defend a stance. I'm
No, I
just saying.
mean, no, I'm just saying that that's a very mystical approach of you. What basically their point is this: is that if you keep it in a book, right, where it's just stories, it's not that easy to benefit from it. It's because you need to make it work for you right now. Otherwise, what's the point of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
if you find yourself in this place where you don't know what to do and everything is confusing, and it's probably because there's something else that you're looking for. It's like all these different types of stories. I think of The Alchemist as well, where one of the like greatest books
Again, the
ever.
physical drama is a reflection of the psychological drama that's taking place. Like as he journeys and leaves his village and goes on that journey in The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, he is also transforming, and then he realizes the thing that he was always looking for. He had it all along. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
Continue.
I mean, you told the story for me, so we can move
Sorry.
on.
I didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, you come up with something then.
Okay.
You
But
just took my alchemist story that I was really getting into.
oh,
I was actually
really?
wanted to start with the King of Salem. That's why, because he does appear in there, Melchizedek.
What?
Um, yeah, he's the one who gives him the black and white stone. What's it
You mean
called
the
now?
alchemist himself in the desert?
Yeah, he meets Melchizedek in the very beginning. He's the one who gives him the pouch with the two stones, and yeah,
Jeez, I
and
don't.
then he says he's wearing a hood or like a robe, and underneath it he sees like this guy's like some type of king or something.
Hmm.
Um, but he does play a role there. I don't know. I'm a little bit stumped. I was about to set off on this journey with the alchemist, but
Please do, for
anyways,
our
basically
benefit.
what I'm saying is that everybody had always went out and they went to go look for the Holy Grail, and then they realized it was with them the whole time, and that's kind of what you should be taking away from many of these stories is that the thing you're looking for has always been with you,
Mm.
and uh, and sometimes unfortunately it takes a traumatic event, some type of catalyst in your life in order for you to realize that. And it's obviously not necessary, but it's the only way to like really wake someone up and shake them up from this world, because how are you going to stop someone from, oh no, but I want to get a promotion, I want to marry the girl of my dreams, I want to do this, that, I want to have this car, I want to have that house. How can you shake someone out of that to be like, no, 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 you must leave all that, um and go within, and then you'll get all those things, and actually you'll get the things that's actually right for you. you know Many people have got what they wanted and then realized this isn't what I thought it would be.
Yeah, this is not what I needed. I realize I wanted it, but it's not what I needed. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's one of the biggest things, and it sounds crazy, but honestly, often I look back and I think I'm so grateful for every little crisis that I have had in my life because I wouldn't be who I am or could be without it. Um, my goals would be so different.
Without you.
Yeah,
um
also many people want, it's quite funny. Lots of people say, if I were rich, I wouldn't do that. Well, guess what? There's a very interesting guy who shared, I don't know his name right now, who shared a study that had been done on basically this psychological impact of power. Um,
oh, I think I saw something like that this week even,
yeah, right?
where they
Uh,
were saying, oh, is that the thing you sent me?
yes. So they took two
With like
groups.
Elon, where he's like, "Ah!" Like he's just like screaming, like then he's like
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
his
The
mind.
question basically was, what happened to Elon? Because
But it's not just him.
yes, I
It
know.
like,
Relax. We know you want to get on his Johnson. Just relax. Just
no,
relax.
you wanna like. Anyways, continue.
Yes. Okay. Listen. The question is, what happened to Elon? Because 15 or 20 years ago, not even 15 years, like 13 years ago, he was such a different person. As far as we could tell. I mean, he was the kind of person who seemed still emotionally connected. We
He was a
still
loser. That's why.
No, he wasn't a loser. He was already a wealthy person.
Dude,
Um
wealth has got nothing to do with being like a loser, dude.
okay, so why isn't he a loser now? Since you just set up
because
this
he
trap
got
for me.
he got a taste for it. He's got all these women. They're messaging him. He's like impregnating Ashley Sinclair and Grimes and all these different women, and now
Yeah,
he's
but
like,
that's
oh, I've got power now. Like, some people can be rich, but they're still awkward and nerdy and
so
stuff.
you're
But
admitting
when you
that
get
it's
a taste of
power.
power, then it's like, oh, this is different. You get some people who aren't even billionaires and they have a lot of power because they have a lot of control over a lot of people.
Yes.
And to them, they like, nah, I don't need the money. Like, I've got
Yes.
something much more than that, dude.
Yeah. But that's the whole point, isn't it? Is that power corrupts, right? Power corrupts. And anyway, I
I
wanted to
think the
go.
same thing happened with Rogan, and people aren't mentioning that, but
Yeah,
and it makes me sad because I've been a fan of Joe Rogan for a long time, and I still am, obviously, um, but he has also got to that place where you can say whatever you want, but you know how much power you have. It's literally called powerful JRE. Think about it. Powerful Joe Rogan experience.
Oh, really?
He named it that before he even got it started. It's called the Joe Rogan experience, but if you look at the it's at powerful JRE.
Maybe it's some
So
Kabbalah type thing.
well, it's like foreshadowing, right? Uh, so if someone writes that, now you have to ask yourself, okay, so what does this guy think of himself? Oh, he clearly thinks he's powerful, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't write that. And it's the same thing where these are the same dudes who will tell you, oh, don't believe in any of that, like, manifestation stuff of like writing down and like kind of affirming it through writing and all those types of
No, you
things.
must.
Yet they do it.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, you would have just named it like, why would you have to put powerful there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
of
don't
course.
stop pretending like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or, I saw it on a bumper sticker. Obviously, I know the Joe Rogan experience. That was stolen, right?
What?
From Jimi Hendrix. Because
Mm.
it's the
The
original
Jimi
is the
Hendrix
Jimi
experience.
Hendrix experience. That was like one of his albums or something.
Yeah.
And so he obviously admits that that's where he took it from. But the powerful thing, so there's a lot of thought going into it. And he obviously talks about this other thing, which we can kind of get into now. Like, is it summoning? I don't know. There's this book by Stephen Pressfield. It's called The War of Art, or the art, not the art of war. I think it's The War of Art, right? It's like, the Sun Tzu book, but written in reverse because it's got to do with actual creative writers. So basically, I got like halfway through the book years ago because Rogan was always promoting it. But essentially, it talks about being a professional when it comes to writing. So if you a comedian, if you're a musician, if you're a screenwriter, be professional in terms of sit down for 2 hours a day with your pen and your pad or in front of your laptop, and you're not going to get up and you're just going to write. No matter what comes up, you write for those 2 hours. Like, you be professional about it.
Mm.
And but something interesting that he says in there is like, I summon you, muse, to fill me up so that and write through me. Something weird like that.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, you can't brush over that part. Like, what are you busy summoning, right? And so, yeah, like, a lot of these dudes want to act like, how can I say? They want to act like materialists or people of this world, like, oh, leave all that spiritual and mental stuff somewhere else. This is how you do it, through hard work and dedication and stuff. But yet, behind the scenes, you're practicing something, some type of ritual or something.
And the
So
question is why? Why? Is it because they don't want to look crazy? Or is it because they know and they just don't want us to do it?
I think they just realize that people, like, you can't actually help people.
Yeah, you can't.
You really, like, the person has to do it for themselves. I can sit here and I can tell someone all the different things that I know about certain things, even that have specifically worked for me. And the person will be like, "Oh my gosh, yes, that's it." And then never do it. Never try do it, never attempt it, none of that. And it can be the craziest things ever, dude. It can literally be like, I did this thing and I won the lottery. And then you tell that to someone and they're like, whoa, I'm going to do that. And somewhere along the line, they'll just not do it.
Yeah.
So, in that way, what is the point of saying it? And here's another thing. Even on these talks that we have, I am a certain way, but you know me. Even if like nothing was recording, I would still be saying these like exact same things. But also there's another side of me when I'm in my practice that I'm not gonna share to anybody. Like, for whatever reason, it's like this is like my private thing. Even Jesus says, go into your closet and close the door, and pray in secret type of thing. Like, even speaks about hypocrites and vain repetitions and people going in the streets to pray and in front of men. And it's like, no, they have their reward. Like, literally, their reward is to be seen by people. Look at me. I'm a street preacher.
Yeah, I'm very devout.
I remember I was on the train, dude. I was wearing my earphones, but I never really had music playing. I just had it in so that I didn't have to talk to people. And I remember there was this one dude, I think he's like a Nigerian guy or something, one of these pastors. Always on Friday, he would always be there in his suit with his Bible. And he would stand there, dude. Like, he would stand at the end of the cart, whatever you call it. And you would see him stand there, and then as soon as the train started moving, then like he kind of picked up his head, and then he starts like just belting, dude. And this guy, like a super tall guy, just belting out, dude. And he's just screaming at us, like pointing at us and screaming. And I remember I'm just like, I don't know, I might have even had some J, whatever it was back then. And I'm just in a good mood. And I notice him come to me and he's like, and the devil, and it's the devil. And he's like pointing at me. I'm just like scratching my eyebrow, like looking at this guy, like, okay, what? And he's like, the devil is in your ears. It's like the devil doesn't want you to hear God's word or something like that. Just screaming at me. And the girl, like, opposite is like laughing at me. And I'm like, what? Like, bro, I'm just trying to get to town.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as we get to his, like, well, we start reaching the end of the the line, he's there with his little bag asking for offerings. So I mean, what?
There we
Like,
go. Anyway.
so, so it's like, what do you want me to do with this now? Because it seems like all I know is I've never seen a righteous man begging bread. So,
yeah. But
but
I
you were
think
talking about the billionaire thing, right? I do want to speak about something Jeff Bezos is freaking out about, but say what you want to say.
no. Continue.
Yeah, so a lot of these guys are getting very scared. And this, obviously, I'm not saying this. This is just what's happening throughout the lands. Is that there's this thing where people are now looking at the billionaires like, screw you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's big
And
momentum.
guys like Larry Fink, who basically like kind of owns the West. If you want to look at who the king of the world is in terms of on paper, you kind of look at Larry Fink, right?
Yeah.
He's the CEO of BlackRock. And
Oh.
here's something that's interesting is that there's literally 3 companies on the planet who own everything, right? It's BlackRock, it's Vanguard, and it's State Street. Those 3 companies like own everything in the West, I mean. And so that is what people are like starting to recognize and realize now, that there's a small amount of people. The Epstein file showed us that they're actually above the law, because they're gloating about it in many ways. No one has been arrested. There's no investigations. It's kind of just in the normal person's face, that bottom half of society. It's like, no, no, no. You get arrested. You can't
Do this.
do these things. We can. And so, like, Larry Fink was busy talking about how people are going to start using drones on their data centers. Like, and he's not talking about international. He says local. He's like, yo, it's not much to get a $3,000 drone and fly it into one of the data centers. And another thing was with Bezos. He was like trying to take this aspect or the stance of, how can we be asking the nurse who makes $79,000 a year for taxes? She shouldn't be paying taxes. What did he say? He's like, the bottom half of society, it's like they only make up about 3% of the income tax. So he's like, why aren't the government and everybody else paying that 3% and let them, that money can go to rent? Like, so obviously when you hear that, you're like, oh wow, Jeff Bezos, you're saying the right things here. But I think it's the average worker at Amazon makes like $38,000 a year, dude.
Which in the US is peanuts. I mean,
Dude,
let's be honest, like it's peanuts.
no, I'm talking about in the US.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's peanuts.
So basically they just saying that you taking the stance because you know what's going to happen, right? And I don't know if it's a joke. This is allegedly, in my opinion, I checked this on a video where they're like, someone died at the Amazon factory. I'm not laughing at the person who died, but it's just what happened was kind of interesting, where they were saying that the person died, and then they just put boxes around him so that it wouldn't disturb the other workers. But before they did that, they made sure to clock him out.
Well, they What do you mean? So that he was
Like
gone?
clock him out of work. So it's like you're off work. Just to make sure it's that you have it on paper.
Yes. Yeah, dude. I googled what you said here. The average Amazon warehouse worker in the USA makes between $18 and $22 per hour, translating to an annual salary of roughly 34 to 45,000 for full-time employees. The exact wage
Dude,
fluctuates depending on the specific job role, shift differentials, and local cost of living. Yeah, you're living.
so think about it. You have $150 million yacht, and like the side yacht
Yeah,
that's cost $75 million.
dude. Yeah.
So you have all these people who are like making you that rich, and he's starting to get nervous about it. Obviously, you saw what happened with Luigi Mangione, who killed that CEO, right?
Mm.
And people were
Of United
celebrating it.
Health. And
Exactly.
United Health is a disgusting organization.
So
Disgusting organization.
so this is why
Absolutely appalling. Sorry, I'm just really have to dwell on that. I've had an experience with them. They're absolutely appalling. They'll gladly receive your payments when it's time to collect. Nah, those guys are slippery than an eel, bro. They don't want to cover medical costs at all, dude. You know,
why would you? All
because
you
that's why
want
you're getting
is
the
that-
money, bro. Like, it's just so sick. Like, and America has no. The biggest mistake was that I tried. This thing is they underwrite so many like travel insurance policies in many parts of the world that even though you don't know, you might never really look at like your insurance docs and might not realize that actually your travel insurance is underwritten by United Health in case you have a medical emergency. But trust, bro, those guys, they'll chicken jive if anything happens
shucking
to
and
you.
jiving, shuffling.
Yeah, dude.
But what I'm saying is, I don't condone people getting violent. I mean, that's just.
Well, at some point,
But what I'm trying to say is, and so you have a lot of these exact guys who are now all pushing surveillance. Everything is surveillance. There's this thing, it's called flock. Have you ever heard of it?
nah.
So this is interesting. I also think like the word flock is pretty interesting because what is a flock, right? A flock of sheep, which I thought was
Exactly.
like, okay. It's like it's just like they don't care anymore. It's like just right on the
Message!
nose. Message. And so and here's something interesting. So I think it is The Dark Knight. Batman The Dark Knight is where with Morgan Freeman and Christian Bale. And
Yeah.
I think it's Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember if it's Batman Returns. No, I'm sure it is The
Batman
Dark
Returns is
Knight.
not it, but it's the Dark Knight, yes.
No,
Batman
'cause
Begins is the
Batman
first one, and
Batman Begins, yeah, that's the first one.
then the Dark
And
Knight.
then the second one is Dark Knight, and then the third one is Dark Knight Rises. But remember how Morgan Freeman in there, Mr. Fox, he's like, if I do this, I'm done. Like I'm not like I don't want any part of this.
Yeah.
Because he's using what was he using? He was using all the cell phones
Yes.
like a sonar, like a bat,
Yeah.
to track someone. And Morgan Freeman was like, this is appalling. Like, even if it's for some type of good, it's like it can be used for too much evil. And it's like that's exactly what's taking place now, dude.
Bingo.
So Flock,
Even with Wi-Fi.
Flock is Yeah, Wi-Fi as well. Flock is busy doing that. There's actually a conspiracy about that as well. Um, like now, obviously, this could be the kooky side of the internet,
Okay.
but basically,
Ag hom met
the
hy
reason
storie.
the reason why they got rid of like lead paint wasn't because of lead poisoning,
Yeah?
but it was because they have this one technology that uses the Wi-Fi
Mhm.
to basically it basically builds a picture of everything around it using the Wi-Fi waves. So it can
Mhm.
actually, when you use this like scanner, this technology from outside a building, you can see someone moving their hands and
Yes.
stuff behind the
Yes.
wall by
Yes.
using the Wi-Fi. But apparently, the lead paint blocks that from happening.
Mm.
Um, that's just the theory. I just laughed at it because I'm like, you never know anymore, but there's obviously so many crazy people out there with like conspiracies.
Yeah.
They just say everything. And how many of these conspiracies are smuggled in by like three-letter agencies to,
Throw off the scent.
muddy the waters? Exactly.
You're right, bro.
Um,
You're
but
right, bro.
basically, the point is, and I know you might be looking to end the podcast. I'm
You know
getting
me,
that,
I
that
gotta.
feeling. Yeah. But the last thing I will say about it is that you've got this flock thing, and basically that's what it does. It enables them to be able to look through ring cameras, like the doorbell
Yeah.
cameras, those things through CCTV, through everything. They're allowed to look through that and see
What is this
what's
called?
happened.
Flock? What?
It's just called flock.
Okay, okay, let
It's
me do
flock
one.
cameras is essentially what it is. And then there's another one that's called Shot Spotter, which is what they've been rolling out in Chicago. Basically,
Ooh.
this is putting microphones on top of roofs all over the town, you know? And it's just like who's signing off on these things? Ah,
Mm.
man, dude, I have so much to
They
actually
do it
unpack
under the
about
guise of your
protection.
security.
Because basically, what Shot Spotter does is if they hear a gunshot, they can triangulate where it came from immediately. Um, but then, even like when they researched how accurate it was like 88.2% inaccurate. When the
Hmm.
cops got there, nothing was even there.
Hmm.
Now, that could be that the people ran away from there, but 88.2%, that's not high enough.
But it's a
That's
starting
too
point.
low
But it's a
to
starting
be
point.
able.
Don't forget
Yeah,
that.
but
It's a
I
starting
mean,
point. Someone is going to figure out, is going to perfect the algorithm the same way they did with attention in transformer architecture in neural networks. Like you can't move away from transformers in modern LLMs or actually most AI in most neural networks. It's like the top performer, and that's going to be very interesting. Someone will figure out the algorithm, or they've already figured it out, and we're only going to know in like 10 years.
yeah.
That's how
I
it is,
mean, look,
man.
it's just like it's an interesting time right now. Obviously, I also found out like when you were talking about Mamdani, your man Zoran, about balancing the budget, and then you find out that it's because they borrowed 4 billion from like the surrounding states in order to do it.
I
So
don't
it
know if
was
they
like,
I don't know if they borrowed. I'll be honest, I didn't check it out. I know they got some money from the
I know you
states
were
around.
bragging about it,
I
but
wasn't bragging about it. Okay, you're true. You okay? Okay, okay. You're trolling. It's fine. Gaslighting, whatever you call it. Anyway,
but
bro,
anyways, yeah. Let's. I guess we'll wrap it up over
crazy.
there.
No end to it. You know, there's no end to it. No end to it at all.
But obviously, yeah, a shorter episode because this is an emergency meeting.
Exactly.
But yeah, let's just do our a young 2 minutes and then we'll end it there. Shot for the chat.
Pleasure. It's
Uh,
always a pleasure, man. It's always. I learned
as
something. We
always,
busted some myths, but we still managed to gather something out of it. Yeah.
100%. Thank you. Thank you.
Peace.